It feels almost uncomfortable to even ask the question out loud, because deep down, there's already a fear attached to it. If you choose to remain celibate, if you walk away from intimacy, if you say no to something the world constantly says yes to, does that make you wrong? Does it make you incomplete? Or worse, does it somehow separate you from God? The truth is not what most people expect. And maybe that's why it feels so quiet, so hidden. Like something you only begin to understand when life slows down enough for your soul to breathe again. Because this question, it's not just about the body. It's about loneliness. It's about waiting. It's about those nights when everything feels still, yet your thoughts won't stop moving. It's about the ache of wanting connection, while also feeling unsure if the path you're walking is right. And maybe you've been there, sitting in your room, the world outside continuing as normal, while inside, something feels paused. You see people moving forward in relationships, building lives, sharing love, experiencing closeness. And you begin to wonder, am I missing something? Am I doing this wrong? Or even deeper, why does this feel so hard if it's supposed to be right? There's something important to understand here. Celibacy in itself is not a sin, but that statement alone doesn't settle the heart, does it? Because the real struggle isn't just about what's right or wrong. It's about what it feels like to live it. It's about the silence, the waiting, the questions that don't always have immediate answers. Because maybe you didn't choose celibacy as a rule. Maybe it became your reality through heartbreak, through disappointment, through relationships that didn't go the way you prayed they would. Or maybe you felt God gently leading you into a season of stillness, but you didn't expect how lonely that stillness would feel. There are moments when the room feels too quiet, when your phone doesn't ring, when conversations feel shallow, and your heart longs for something deeper. And in those moments, it's easy to question everything, not just your choices, but your worth, because the world often measures value through connection, through being chosen, through being desired. And when those things are absent, it can feel like something inside you is lacking. But maybe, just maybe, what feels like absence is actually space. Space where God is doing something unseen. There's a verse that doesn't always get talked about in these conversations. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. But it quietly reveals something profound. I wish that all of you were as I am. But each of you has your own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 7. A gift, not a punishment, not a limitation, not something to endure until life begins. A gift, and maybe that word feels confusing, because it doesn't always feel like one. Because gifts are supposed to feel good, right? They're supposed to bring joy, excitement, fulfillment. But what happens when a gift feels like waiting? When it feels like being set apart? When it feels like being misunderstood? Perhaps the gift isn't in the absence of something, but in the presence of something deeper, something quieter, something that doesn't compete for attention, but slowly reshapes your heart from inside. Because in seasons of celibacy, there's a kind of clarity that begins to form, not instantly, not loudly, but gradually. You start to notice things you didn't before, patterns, emotions, wounds that were hidden beneath distractions. And it's not always comfortable. In fact, sometimes it's painful, because when life slows down, when external noise fades, you're left alone with your thoughts. And maybe you felt that heaviness, overthinking things you wish you could forget, replaying conversations, questioning decisions, wondering if you're falling behind in life. That quiet anxiety that whispers, what if this never changes? But what if the season isn't about what's missing, but about what's being restored? Because God often works in ways that don't immediately make sense. Not everything he does is loud. Not everything is visible. Sometimes he works in the stillness, in the waiting, in the spaces where nothing seems to be happening. But everything is actually being prepared. A quiet slate appears. Not every empty space is meant to be filled. Some are meant to be understood. There's another verse that gently shifts perspective. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Matthew 6 verse 33. Seek first, not fix first, not rush first, not compare first. Seek, and maybe that's where the tension begins to ease. Because celibacy isn't about rejecting connection. It's about reordering it. It's about learning that your identity, your worth, your completeness, was never meant to be built on another person. And yet, that doesn't remove the longing, because a desire for closeness, for love, for companionship. It's real, it's human, and God understands that. He's not distant from that feeling. He's not unaware of the ache that comes with it. In fact, he meets you right there, in the quiet room, in the late-night thoughts, in the moments when you feel unseen. There's something deeply personal about how God speaks in these seasons, not through loud declarations, but through gentle reminders, a sense of peace that doesn't fully make sense, a moment of stillness that feels different, like something is holding you, even when nothing around you has changed. And slowly, you begin to realize something. Celibacy isn't about deprivation. It's about direction. It's not about losing something. It's about being led somewhere. But the journey there isn't always clear. There are days when it feels like you're doing everything right, and nothing is happening. Prayers feel unanswered. Time feels slow. Hope feels distant. And it's easy to wonder, God, are you even in this? That question, it doesn't come from doubt alone. It comes from desire, a desire to feel close, to feel guided, to feel like your life is moving with purpose. And maybe God is closer than it seems, not in the way you expected, but in the way you need. Because sometimes he removes certain things, not to punish you, but to protect the version of you that's still forming, the version that isn't defined by external validation, the version that isn't dependent on someone else's presence to feel whole, the version that knows, deeply, that being alone doesn't mean being abandoned. Another slate appears. Quietly, God is not withholding love from you. He is teaching you where it truly begins. There's a peace that begins to grow in that understanding. Not all at once, not perfectly, but steadily. A peace that says, I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not incomplete. And maybe this season isn't something to escape, but something to listen to, because within it, there are lessons that can't be learned any other way. Lessons about patience, about identity, about trusting God, even when life doesn't look the way you imagined. And yes, there will still be moments of longing, moments when you wish things were different, moments when the silence feels heavy again. But those moments don't define the whole journey. They're just part of it. There's another quiet truth found in Scripture. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34 verse 18. Close, not distant, not absent. Close, even in the confusion, even in the waiting, even in the questions that don't have clear answers yet. So, is celibacy a sin? No, but maybe the more meaningful question is, what is God doing in this season of your life? Because when you begin to see it through that lens, everything shifts. It's no longer about what you're missing. It becomes about what's being formed. A deeper sense of self, a stronger connection with God, a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on external circumstances. And one day, you may look back on this season differently, not as a time of emptiness, but as a time of preparation, not as a delay, but as a foundation, not as something that held you back, but something that shaped you into who you were meant to become. And until that clarity fully comes, it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to wrestle with the questions. It's okay to sit in the quiet and not have everything figured out, because God isn't expecting perfection from you. He's walking with you, gently, patiently, without pressure. And maybe tonight, as everything slows down again, you don't need to have all the answers. Maybe it's enough to simply rest in this truth. You are not doing life wrong. You are not falling behind. You are not less because your path looks different. You are being led, even here, even now, and somehow, in ways you may not fully see yet. That is more than enough.